of ways to raise money. It is almost 8:30. Adrian, do we want to open it up a little bit or
Yes.
end it? Okay.
Let's open up.
Our other mic died, so I'll have to take this mic and then you'd have to answer it. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask the counselors?
The Planning Commission voted unanimously, really to our surprise and we were so pleased, to remove the term understudy from the comprehensive plan. Do you think that City Council will decide to put that back? Do you think that they will accept all the changes that the Planning Commission made to the document?
I think that we will accept it as presented. And so that was why it was really important. It shows you the power you all have, is that you did, you can't hear me, I know.
You know, the power you have is that you went down there and you talked to that planning commission and you stood up and you each talked about it. And that is the power of the people, and that's what we've got to harness. I think this will be a great, but I don't think anybody, I may be wrong, but in my mind, I don't think you will see that term put back in.
I don't.
Does anyone else have a question?
I remember we signed petitions, was that 2 years ago during the 2016 presidential election? There were a lot of petitions floating around. Have those been presented to the city council? And if so, who presented them, what was the comment?
We have them and we're discussing whether to present them. Maybe Adrian knows.
Yes. Well,
How many signatures?
6,500?
okay. Hold on. I'll show you what we have, or most of them. We have about 6,000 that I know of. There's a few still out there. People haven't turned in yet. Some people have learned signatures, but they haven't turned them in yet. So
That was a hint, people.
this is a copy of about 6,000 signatures. Now, I haven't numbered them yet, so I'm not going to drop this, I hope.
Daily press is a beautiful photo.
But you see, this is what it looks like, 6,000 signatures. It's close to 700 pages, I guess. So.
What is your advice, councilors, as to when we should officially present this to you?
My opinion,
Sure.
When the meeting that I make the motion and he seconds, and we have 2 more votes. Although I'd like to see it mentioned before and shown before. I don't know that I'd put them in, but at least look what we've got so far. This is your public. This is what your public wants. I think it's good to show them every time. Come down, show and tell. And we're getting more. And if you care about the city and its people, you need to start listening.
I'd like to see you all bring a copy of that when you come down before the city council for their next meeting. I think it would be very powerful for the people involved. I'm not so sure that we're going to pass this and keep the understudy designation out of the comprehensive plan. I don't know. I don't have enough experience yet to know whether that's going to happen or not. I'm hopeful that people will come along. It's very reasonable that they will. I've worked it out in my mind where it seems like a very reasonable thing for them to do. And I've talked to some of them about it. But until they vote, I don't know. That's why I'm encouraging you to come down and talk and make your case. Because I would hate to sit here and say, oh, I think this is a done deal, and then people not come out and not express. There may be city council members out there that are on the fence right now that really don't know whether they're going to do this. And your voice before city council could be the one voice that pushes them over, that gets this done for our city.
Let's
So-
see a show of hands again. Who's coming? How many people? Can you bring somebody with you? Children. Young people.
Hi, I'm Shelley Simons from the school board, and I'm here with everybody. Thank you all so much for being willing to be, being open and having this discussion. I think really the council members from the north are quite important because this park is going to equally serve the residents of the northern part of the city. I mean, these lines they've drawn in terms of districts are very arbitrary. So one thing you all might want to start doing is looking at the signatures that you have from people in the North District and making sure those people are writing the city council people from the North so that they really know their voters want this. I also like someone was saying kind of starting slowly and making sure we get access to a trail. And I think a trail immediately would not be that expensive. And I know the cross-country team from Menchville High School really wants a trail. There are already so many people working out at the Riverview Farm property, so a trail makes total sense. Eventually, a boardwalk there, something sustainable, low maintenance, place for festivals. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. And then one other idea I had is I think that we should do a contest with students. We should do some kind of design or dream up a park or dream up a trail or some kind of drawing contest. And maybe try to reach out to some Boy Scout troops. I know a Girl Scout troops, but I don't know any Boy Scout troops. And see if we can get some Boy Scout troops to take this on and maybe present some big ideas to the city council. And maybe they're not our ideas, but I think having students get excited about it through some kind of, drawing competition could be really good. So thanks for all this hard work you guys are doing.
In response,
But in response to that, 2 years ago, one of the teachers from Menchville had her class write the rationale why this should be a park. And she had about 89 students. She was teaching 3 different, classes. So, and then some of them came down and spoke. It was very powerful. And their essays, I read every one of them, they were wonderful. So we need to involve the teachers to get them to do that kind of thing again. That's a great idea. And to expand it even further with design, not just rationale, but design as well.
How late do you want to go?
To about quarter of.
Okay, we got room for maybe 3 more questions.
I got a real quick one. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old who I cannot bring to city council because it'll last way past bedtime. But would it be allowed for me to play a recording from them during my time?
Oh, wow.
it's a good idea. I don't know. As far as I know, that's fine.
Okay,
This is, I'll check on it, make sure you get a chance.
okay.
I don't think that's ever been presented before.
I wanted to ask about this outside group that's coming in to help.
American Planning.
Why is this necessary, and what actually is the point of it?
Our former planning committee, head of planning for the city of Newport News is here.
And actually, this was one of your suggestions, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Al?
there was so much division on this issue. The thought was, I think Bert Bateman really came up with the idea that the American Planning Association, which is a professional arm, planners like me, they have what they call a community action team situation where that if there's an issue and the community needs help resolve it, come up with a solution. They're invited into the community and they talk to various people, and they usually involve citizens and try to identify, okay, what are the issues here, what are some opportunities, you know, how you would approach it. So basically, it's sort of like getting in some great brain power from across the country, the people who know something about parks and describe, like you described, what Pittsburgh is doing. You know, I've been to Sarasota, and they have a wonderful waterfront park. But it's not just a park, you know, there's a place where you can rent boats or you can eat and that type of thing. And it's not an unusual thing. And it's basically a way to expand your horizons and thoughts from across the country from people who've been doing this in their careers.
But isn't there a danger that if we invite them before we have decided that it was definitely, before city council has...
Well, I think what's going to happen is, looks like there's going to be an decision made before this happens. Seems that's what my understanding is. I mean, I don't think council is going to wait to take action on the plan. I think they're going to take the public hearing, and then my guess is, as Pat pointed out, they'll probably act within the next meeting. I don't know why they wouldn't do any good to just wait on it.
But I don't think they'll specifically,
But they won't say what's going to be in there or anything. That's,
right,
you know,
that's what I'm saying.
And that's what you need. You need, okay, how do you go about planning something like this and get some really good ideas?
But that's why we need that task force rejuvenated.
And they would, like, I went to the National Planning Conference, not this last one, the one in New York, a year ago. You know, and they had presentations on parks. And you know, the High Line, I saw the High Line was a public spurred project. I don't know if anybody's seen it, been to New York and walked the High Line, but they have 7 million people coming in every year to walk the High Line. Now they're going to have that in Riverview Farm Park. But you know, one thing I would thought about, Pat's talked about, I think this idea of Warwicktown being like a Sturbridge Village type thing is a possibility. I mean, Warwicktown is one of 8 original shires created in 1620, and according to an article that the town itself established in 1680, and it was the county seat for a long time until the 1800s, when someone said that's too far to go. They moved it to the Warwick courthouse, where it is now the county seat. So there's, you know, I don't think anything's been done, you know, that people can go see. What was one of these towns like? What was it like? Because you had a warehouse, you had barns, you had a jail.
Yep.
You had it was a little town, and there were, I think, 8 of them, weren't there, along the river.
I think the American Planning Association is probably a good idea, because I feel like the city leaders aren't really listening to our vision. So maybe if they get some imagery and some ideas and some vision from a national association, maybe it will inspire the rest of the council and some of the other people we need to convince.
Particularly, you know, the revenue side. You know, how do you get revenue? And one thing that at the conference, National Planning Conference, I went to in New York, and there were the whole estimate. You discussed it. Why parks are good? How it helps the community's health.
Absolutely.
And these are very positive things. The parks have great value to the life of the city and health of the city and health of the people in the city.
Help them people.
Gentleman in the back.
Good evening. My name is Ed Whitley. I am one of the 3 remaining members of the original task force that planned this Riverview Farm Park. Della, Dr. Dawson, and Al, what's Jay's last name?
Jan Gray. Jan Gray.
Jan Graves.
And thank you to you all.
Betty Ann Davis has moved to Williamsburg, and I forgot what other woman, she's moved to Williamsburg, and Corette moved to Suffolk, and one member passed away, and that lives right beside the park, and we had a member from the East End that was on this park, that planned this park. A lot of you really don't know the history of what we went through to design the park. First off, when they first started, it was everybody in Demi Plantation's idea to plant trees and plant flowers and walk away. Dr. Dawson and myself and Corette, we fought to make it a park for the children. The plans was done. They came in. Al will contest to this, will agree with me on this, I hope, that the people from the city came down and told us that they've been told there was not enough park space in the city of Newport News to draw business to Newport News, and that we needed an exceptional park, which we planned. If you take a walk around that track, you'll see a gully or a ravine that was man-made dug, that you have nothing but trees in. That's supposed to be a lake where you can hang your kayaks and your canoes for boating. Okay? They dug the hole, and then they said they had to go elsewhere. The plan was a 10-year plan that everything would be completed with the first thing going in, a community center. It would be the first community center that had been built in the city of Newport News since Dory Miller down in the East End. Dave Yancey, which everybody has been talking about proudly tonight, I will not vote for him because he took that community center from the park to have it built on Jefferson Avenue so that he could get his votes to be your delegate in the state. So when you talk about Dave Yancey going to support this group, he didn't support us when he was a council member. So how do you expect him to support us now, unless he's looking for votes throughout the city to be re-elected?
Sir, he's never been on council. Not David Yancey.
It was, I thought it was David Yancey.
No. He's
You
never.
gotta work who's in office.
Uh-huh,
But he's never been on city council.
okay. Well, my apologies.
You know, I'm
But
clarifying.
I apologize. It's been 20 years since we did this.
Yeah.
I brought tonight and presented to this group the plans that we were given when we first started drawing, when we first drew this park up. Okay. Again, the first community center was supposed to be built at Riverview Farm Park.
I think who you were talking about was the person who really pushed Midtown, which is not in the central district,
Right.
was, what's his name, the person who see that Haskins, Bill Haskins.
Okay.
I think that's who it was.
My apologies.
I'm just saying that he was on council for quite a long time.
My apologies on
That's all
that.
right, no problem.
After 20 years, you get old, you make mistakes.
I hope you will renovate that and get it going again,
Yeah.
what your plans were.
Then, the second one was to be built at Riverview. Beachmont? Then, the Denby Community Center has been built. And now the talk is that they won't put a community center in Riverview because of the one up at Denby.
But it's not accessible to hardly anybody in this area.
Correct. They came to us when we was a task force and said, we want to build the gymnasium where they built it. But they didn't, but it wasn't planned to be there. That was planned to be the garage for the trucks to take care of the park. a mechanic's space to take care of the trucks and vehicles, to take care of the parks. At that time, the two of us, Doc and myself, argued that that should be built where the community center is and continue on building off of that for the community center, to get the community center built. They said, no, we'll put the cement down and it will be for the trucks. And then when we get the community center built, we'll move the trucks over there. When they took us for the tour through, I'm almost finished. When they took us through the tour through, they had only put enough cement down for gymnastics. You cannot drive heavy trucks on that. So I trust Pat with all my heart. Dave, I do not know you, but I did vote for you this time. Okay? You do me wrong, I'll vote you out. But to let you be known, I do not trust anybody on this city council.
Except for Pat and maybe Dave. It's 10 of 9. We probably need to bring this to an end. I did want to, one idea we've been kicking around is having some kind of a regatta out there right by the land. Who has a boat or a rowboat or a canoe or a kayak and would like to be part of that? If any of you would like to be part of that or know people that would, any kind of cabin cruiser, sailboat, whatever, we'd love to get, 50 boats out there or something and get the daily press there. So if you're interested, let me know. Adrian, you have some closing remarks? First, I want to say thank you to these two for coming. Spending 2 hours with us. Thank you so much.